Have you heard about Anchor? Well, it's one of the easiest ways to create a podcast. Not only is it 100% free, but it has a variety of creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or a computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast to other sites such as Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many others for you. And Anchor even allows you to make money from your podcast without a required minimum listenership. So, whether you've been in the podcasting game for a long time or you're completely new to it, Anchor is so user friendly that it's basically your one stop shop for making a podcast. So, what are you waiting for? Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. You're listening to First Fossil. Because sometimes you simply need someone to help you take that first fossil. Hello and welcome to First Fossil, a show where we learn together how to take that first fossil toward becoming the best versions of ourselves. My name is Candace Olushala, and today's special guest is actually someone that I'm resonating a lot with based on her journey. So she is a retired physician, now certified weight loss coach. So I'm actually very excited for her to share her first fossil experience. So without further ado, please welcome Laura de Sanz. Hey, Laura, how are you doing?
Hi, Candace. Very well. Thank you. Thank you for having
Awesome.
me here.
No, thank you for being on my show. I love
It's a
I love
pleasure.
meeting new people. So this is exciting. I would
Yeah.
just love to hear more about your story and share it with my audience. But
Mhm.
first off, how have you been? It's been a very interesting 2 years. So just in general, how have things been for you?
This year, this last year.
This past year, 2020, feel like just
Yeah, it has been
everything has been different. So
very different. Yeah. But I have a specific situation because I had my second baby just before the pandemic. So it was March 2020, which
oh
means
my
that we
goodness.
have been well, I could say a little bit distracted by this. So it's not for us being here locked down. I am in Switzerland right now, and
Mhm.
we had a lockdown which was very short in time. I think it was kind of 1 month more or less, but we could get out. So it was just a matter of some um, magazines which were closed, but otherwise we could go to the forest, we could have a free life, let's say it like this. So here, fortunately, has not been very important for us, this.
Okay.
But for example, in terms of joining our families, I am from Spain, I am from Barcelona. So my family, for example, don't know yet my second son,
Oh,
which is they just know him by by the video.
oh yeah.
So it's every time that there are some holidays. My older kid, who is 7 years almost, who has holiday, it's like, okay, on October we are going to go to Spain and introduce our second kid to the family. But it's not it's never the best moment.
Right.
So we were decided to go now at Christmas time, but with this Omicron, we just
Yeah.
told ourselves, okay, we are just going to wait till Easter, and hopefully there, when he's going to be 2 years old,
Oh,
he's going to meet the family really.
yeah. Oh,
So yeah, it's a little bit different. It's circumstance of life. I think that this is what happened here, and I think that there's a lot of things to learn about this, and especially when we look at this situation globally.
yeah.
So I think that there are a lot of messages behind this pandemic, in terms
Yeah.
of as an individual person, but also collective.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
Man, that's really good. That's a lot to take in, I think, just because it's that level of uncertainty that we've had for the last
Hmm.
couple of years, and you have this exciting news, and honestly, very grateful for video anything right now because I think a lot of us have missed out on those big moments with our families and what we would usually
Hmm.
do in person. We're having to be grateful for the technology that we do have to try to stay connected and keep
Totally.
people updated. So I'm glad that you guys at least got to show your family your newborn video
Exactly.
and that was available, but I'm sure it's gonna be really great when you actually get to connect in person and they get
Oh,
to hug up
sure.
on them and up on them.
Mm.
So that'll be really nice for sure. I can relate to that. I saw my younger brother this year for the first time since my brother and sister-in-law got married in September of 2019, 'cause he
Hmm.
was in medical school and then I was doing my pharmacy work, and so we just never connected after the wedding, and then
Hmm.
the lockdown happened, and I'm like, "When am I seeing my brother? Like, I miss him." So I finally got to see him last year for literally 24 hours. So that
Wow.
was like I was like,
Speed
"Better 24
dating.
hours." Literally, basically. But I was, after the year that we had, I was like, I'd rather have him for 24 hours than no hours,
Sure.
So I just like
Wow.
soaked that in a lot. But that's the world we live in right now. It's very unexpected. Normal is not really a word anymore. It's been pretty much been tossed out of our vocabulary at this point. So just still in this what is 2022 gonna be like for us? Where are we headed as a world? I think that's the big question right now that
Exactly.
everyone's kind of looking to see unfold. So yeah, a lot of changes, but I'm glad that you guys have been healthy and congrats on
Hmm.
your second born. That's
Yeah.
really
Thank you.
exciting too. Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself from your perspective?
Well, so I am a mom of two lovely kids, and I am from Barcelona, but I am living in Switzerland since almost 10 years this year. This was my dream since I was a little child to go to live in a Alpine country. So for me, it was changing the beach to the mountains.
I love that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I am here in Switzerland with my husband and my two kids. And I am also a retired physician and certified weight loss coach. I have always been passionate with all which is related with healthy lifestyle, nutrition, and mental health, especially.
Mm,
I am also very concerned about the world we are living in, and especially thinking about my kids, what
mm,
kind of world we are living to
yeah.
them. So, because I am very concerned on this, I think that investing on the education of my kids and investing as well on mental health, it's very, very important. So,
Yeah.
this was what drove me to coaching, in fact. And I truly think that if everybody knows these two skills that have never been taught, at least here in Europe at school, which are mental management and emotional management, we could have so different world and better world that I think that this can be very, very powerful, really.
I resonate a lot with what you just said. That is beautiful. And I grew up with a I have my dad as a psychiatrist and he's very much into that
Hmm.
nutrition and mental health, but like emotional health and
Hmm.
your physical well-being and how all of those things kind of they connect with one another and they affect one another and being in tune with all of that is really important. And it is a conversation even in the US that we're just barely scratching the surface of now. And I think the pandemic has actually helped highlight the
Exactly.
need for this. So
Exactly.
I'm can you unpack that? Like how did you go from retiring as a physician to being I guess basically an entrepreneur, but in a
Hmm.
coaching sense? And when did this happen?
So all started, in fact, in my second maternity. I have thought about taking a maternity leave of 10 months just to be with my second kid and also with the first one. And what I was, my idea was to always come back to the medical practice because this is what I was, a physician, and I really love medicine. What I was doing, this was my childhood dream to become a physician, and this was something that really resonates with me. But as for me, at least, each maternity, and I think that a lot of women can relate to this. Each maternity, it's like a rebirth somehow
Mm.
inside of us. It's an opportunity to get to know me better and to tap into my deepest desires. So when I was in this maternity with all these ideas, I came across with the podcast of School of Coaching, and that blew my mind. I told
Mm.
myself, oh my God, I want to do this. I want to do this certification, but it was not for working as a coach. My husband actually asked me, do you want to be a coach? And I was, no, I am a physician. Just it was my gift for my 40s, in fact. So this was my gift that I offered to myself as a self development, and also thinking about my kids. I wanted to equip them with all these tools of mental management and emotional management because I know that they are not going to learn this at school. So that's when I started. At that time I didn't know this, but I think that my first pastor really starts there.
Mm.
I didn't know at that time that my journey as an entrepreneur started there, and that this was really be life changing for me. So it was the beginning of my new me. I'd say it like this.
I love that. That's really cool that it kind of caught you by surprise, is what it
A
sounds
little bit.
like. Yeah, and I think there's there's bravery in something catching you by surprise enough to shift your whole career and make you make a pivot, basically.
Hmm.
So, what was it that allowed you to decide, "I don't wanna just get certified just to have this as, like, this cool gift to myself in my 40s, but
Hmm.
I think I want to retire officially and then actually pivot into this certification and pour into that full time." How did you even come up with that? What was that mental shift or that emotional shift that led you to that decision?
Hmm. So it was while I was doing the certification and learning all those tools, for me it was so essential what I was learning, and at the same time so powerful,
Mm.
that I thought, oh my God, this is so needed right now, especially right now in this world. So I told myself, okay, it's okay to be a physician. I really love this, but why not try something different? Because I think that my impact will be much important
Mm.
by really coaching people and teaching them how to use the tools and develop the skills to manage their mind and their emotions.
Mhm. So it
So it's about discovering all this,
right.
discovering how to be aware of our own thoughts and see how our thoughts impact in our life and how we can manage this, how we can process the emotions, or how we can just change our thoughts because they are always optional.
Right.
And while I was doing the certification, I realized how many times I was using, without knowing, some tools, especially emotional tools, to achieve what I wanted. And sometimes emotional tools that block me to get what I wanted.
Mm.
And this, knowing that there's neuroscience behind this, showing this, that this exists, that it's not a coincidence in my life or something that happened because I was there at that time. For me, it was like, no, everybody should know how to do this and
Mm.
really uncover what you are really, who you really are, and why you are here for,
Mm, yeah.
and
Ooh,
have this permission, to really create what you want to create.
yeah. I love that, the permission, but it's like
Yeah,
you giving yourself the permission to be exactly who you're supposed to be. But
exactly.
it takes hitting that level of mental and spiritual and emotional connection with yourself to recognize who you actually are, and everyone actually has access to that, but not everyone realizes that they have that access.
Exactly. That's it.
So wait, what if you don't mind me asking, what type of physician were you?
I was a family physician. I've always
Oh.
have a lot of interest, getting to know all the family, all the context, not only the person, but that person having different medical issues, and how that person was relating with the world around her or him, and their family members as well. So it helped me a lot to understand a lot of things and understand how our mind works actually. So it
Wow.
was quite interesting.
And you were a physician for how long?
I have been working for 15 years.
Wow.
So
And
yeah.
that's
Mhm.
like even that's not even including the schooling. So that's like an
No, exactly.
additional
So it
what?
would be 21 years. Yeah.
Okay. So you have 20 plus years of pursuit of medicine and
Hmm.
pursuit of this esteemed title in the world, to
Hmm.
call yourself a physician and to have earned that, have to gone through that training to be what you are and what you and to do what you do is highly revered all across the globe. And then to make that shift into becoming a coach and recognizing that that's a different title and it might be seen differently in the world. It's even to a point where not everyone even understands what that means. So, what was your emotional journey in that transition when you decided, I think this is actually something
Hmm.
I should be doing full time?
I was feeling, I would say, from one side, very excited
Hmm.
because, it was like, hey, I allow myself to create what I want to create. So it's about creating your life on purpose. What kind
Hmm.
of life do I want? So I wanted, especially, have a free lifestyle.
Mm,
So I wanted this independence of location and flexibility in schedules and so on. So for me, this was very important. And also, all those thinking about, when I was working as a physician, I have seen thousands of people who were struggling with their weight. And most of them, especially those who were more than 45 years, 50 years, had at
mm,
least one chronic disease.
mm.
Chronic disease are what we see the most in the consultation, which is hypertension, hypercholesterolemia, or diabetes,
Diabetes.
metabolic syndrome, some kinds of cancer. So all those chronic diseases are coming from our modern lifestyle,
Mm,
okay? And obesity or being overweight too. So what I have observed is that those people who had those illnesses, when they were trying to lose weight, they were losing weight. Actually, most of them they were losing weight, and their diseases started to improve. But the problem was always the same. Once they gain it all back, which happened 95% of the time after some weeks or months, their diseases started to get worse again.
mm,
So, in fact, studies show that only 4% of people who lose weight reach to maintain it. Only 4%. This is crazy. And this is because the current approach of weight loss, it's only focused on calories in and calories out.
right.
And if you really want to lose weight permanently, you have to change your identity.
Mm,
It's much more about changing your thoughts and also managing your emotions, because a lot of my patients were at the time quitting their diets because they were feeling demotivated or deprived, or just were fed up of counting calories, for example. So all these are emotions, and our emotions are coming from our thoughts.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, I have been practicing medicine. I have seen that there is a lot of things to do, but as a doctor, I cannot work doing this. As a doctor, you have to make diagnosis and treatment, but we don't have time to coach people, and
Mm,
especially in terms of mindset and so on. So I told myself, well, I think that here I can blend my medicine with all the tools that I've learned during the certification, and that's actually what I am doing. So
ugh,
I am helping women. I am focusing on mom entrepreneurs to lose weight permanently, working on mindset and emotional work, and also, or which is about body, of course, or which is nutrition and having a healthy lifestyle.
mhm. Ooh, I love that. That concept of realizing that it's not just about the action, but the support of your mindset and your emotional set
Exactly.
to sustain the action,
Hmm.
right? Because we are anybody can lose weight any day. Like that's something that we've learned how to do when your thoughts and your feelings are fighting you every day in what
Exactly.
you do. That is exhausting. And it's no wonder
Hmm.
that a lot of us just gain it right back because we're tired of fighting within our own selves the entire
Hmm.
time or thinking that because I lost the weight now defines my joy and my peace and my contentment and
And my
realizing
worthiness.
and your worth, right?
Ah.
And so then like if there's a slight change, all of a sudden
Hmm.
you are like your whole mindset is gone. Like you've lost it
Gone.
all and you gain it back, you gain it more. I resonate with this. That was my story for such a long time. Just
Hmm.
the going to doctors and I grew up a very sick kid. So
Hmm.
I was constantly in and out of doctors and getting scoped and being diagnosed and re-diagnosed and scanned and people didn't know what was wrong. And the most common response was, well, if you lose weight, it'll all go away. And in
Yeah.
my head, so that was like something I was taught from a very young age, probably like age 11, 12 is when doctors started telling me
Hmm.
that all of my problems would go away with the
Hmm.
weight loss. So I fought for the almost the majority of my life from there on out to have this miraculous thing happen, right?
Hmm.
And finding out at the end it was great in the moment, but it was actually not that sustainable end all be all, right? So I love that you connected very quickly with the concept that the change in your weight doesn't even define who you are. Like you should be
No,
able
not
to
at all.
know and understand and love yourself every step of whatever
Exactly.
size you are, but are you healthy? Right? Like are you
Yeah.
healthy? Are you happy? Can you wake up and say like I love me even though
Yeah.
today
But you.
might be hard?
Mhm.
That's okay, right? Like, today's hard,
Yeah.
I still love me. This was a struggle,
Exactly.
I still love me. This was
Exactly.
frustrating, I enjoy being with myself. Like, can those things live simultaneously in the weight loss world and even medicine doesn't necessarily like you said, have the time to have that
Hmm.
conversation. It's more of the can you get
Hmm.
the results of the weight loss?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just like the paper, like lose 20 pounds or 50 pounds and see you in in 2 months, you know?
Yep.
So and as you told now, this is very interesting. And I think that this is something that we have to understand, because we tend to think that I am going to lose weight. And when I lose weight, I will be happier, I will be confident, I will love myself, I will love my body, I will be healthier. But the thing is that all those things that you want, that you think that losing weight are going to give you, in fact, are the things that you have to start to develop now. So you have to start right now to work on your self-confidence. You have to start right now to work on yourself, of loving yourself unconditionally. So these are the things that you can learn right now. So as the journey passes, what really gets you to lose weight permanently is really changing this. So
Yep.
when you love yourself, you are going to be more motivated to stop eating junk food, or to question a little bit more, why am I eating every time and overeating when I am feeling stressed, or when I feel boredom? I know that this is not convenient for me and for my health. So what else can I offer to myself? So
Right.
all these things are the things. These are finally the way to get to the lasting weight loss that we want.
Yes. Uh, I I love that. And I'm curious how you recognizing that it was an identity shift for people, because I know those of us that have practiced medicine to some capacity, any doctor of insert medical degree here, a lot of us are either told or accept that that's where the world or we see our identity in. I identify as a pharmacist and I'm proud of that. And like the world is proud that I'm proud of that. Like they want me to be proud of it because they know there's a lot of money attached to that. Right. So
Mhm.
it's this it's weird when you think about it once you've stepped out of it that you were like in
This
that
has been,
space.
yeah, this has
Right.
been the most challenging for me, in fact.
Wow.
So from one side, I was feeling excited to create my life on purpose. And from the other side, I was feeling scared. You know, it
Mm,
was about thinking losing my safe and real career as a doctor, and especially because this was my childhood dream. So I have been practicing. I am a doctor. I am a physician since I was 8 years old. So
yeah.
everybody was laughing at me when I was selling. I was a little child and I was just telling everybody I am a traumatologist or an orthopedist. So just because I
Yes.
wanted to rap all the day. But it started like this. So my identity as a physician is there since so many time ago, and just to think about changing this and go into a new world, even if
Mm,
it was new, I also think that I have somehow been a little bit a coach since ever. But even if I have always been a little coach, okay, changing this identity for me, it has really been very challenging. And also losing this financial security, of course. As a
mm,
doctor, only it's very easy. So the most difficult it's studying, entering on the faculty of medicine and studying a lot and working a lot. But once you are there, no problems. You have always patients. You have a good money. And now it's like starting from scratch, starting this journey of entrepreneurship where I didn't know anything about this, anything about marketing. I hate social media. So it was so many, it has been so hard for me to learn all the things in such a short amount of time. So when I look at myself, where I am now and where I was 2 years ago, I tell myself, oh my God, there's so many things I've learned, so many skills I have developed, and so many things that I consider creating in the future that I was never thought before that I could even think about this. That I told myself, oh my God, where I will be in the next 2 years or 5 years, 10 years. So really it's exciting to see how much I am growing. And
mm,
this is really what you have to expect if you want to start your entrepreneurship. It's really about personal growth.
yeah.
For me, it's much more challenging this than studying medicine. And I was never an excellent student. Okay. So
Mhm.
I studied a lot. I am also very determined, consistent. At least these are skills that are helping me as well in my journey as an entrepreneur. But
Yeah. So, was there a part of this journey where you were doing both family medicine and coaching, like, on the side? Or did you just go, "I got my certificate, I'm leaving medicine, and I'm switching?" And how did you
Yeah.
make that decision to fully switch?
hmm I just went all in into developing my coaching business. And I decided this because, as I told you before, one of the most important things that I wanted to create for me is this a free lifestyle. So I told
Mm,
myself, if I start this journey hustling, working from one side here in Switzerland, minimum 40% of the time. So it is about 30 hours per week, more or less, plus starting, developing, growing my business. Would say I won't see my my kids, and this is
mm,
exactly what I don't want. So I told myself, no, you are going to go all in, and you are going to start living right now the life that you want. So
mm,
of course I had a lot of money saved. And by the way, this is something that I recommend if anybody is thinking about leaving the corporate job and start the entrepreneur journey, to
mhm,
have at least, I would say, 1 year of a salary insured
mhm,
to develop your business.
yeah. How was that conversation with your husband? Because I'm sitting here thinking, like me, I'm single, I don't have kids. So making that transition for me was on me. It didn't affect
Mhm,
a family. I wasn't supporting anybody else. So how did how did you how did you have that conversation? Because I feel like a lot of people, they feel responsible, and
mhm,
they're like, "Maybe if I was in a different season, I would be allowed to do this." But because it's not just me, it's my spouse, it's my kids, I might have to take care of my parents and all this stuff, and now I feel the weight of that. How do I approach my family to tell them I really think I should be making this shift, but I wanna also make sure I'm not being reckless or inconsiderate about those that will be affected by it outside of myself. So
mhm.
how did you get the opportunity to have that conversation for your family?
Yeah, so I remember I shared from the beginning. Um, so of course, this was nothing that I've decided once I started my journey. Once I started the certification, it was my ideas has been changed and evolved. So this is something that I have always shared with my husband,
Mm,
and it's interesting because for me it was very clear that this was what I really wanted to do, but the mental shift of my identity was still not there. So it was like, okay, I started, in fact, my coaching business, but I was always telling other people when I met other people, no, I am a physician. Well, I am a retired, and now I am also a coach. It wasn't not coming natural for me. Tell, hey, I am a weight loss coach. For me, it sounded a little bit strange, and I could see that also my husband as well. So he was telling me, well, Laura, when she was talking to his friends, well, she is now doing medicine and coaching at the same time, and when their people were no longer there, I was like, no, I am no
mm,
longer a physician. I am not, of course, I will be always a physician, but I am not doing medicine. If you tell people she's still doing medicine and coaching, it's not exactly what I am doing. But I realized that I was also with this identity crisis, you
mm,
know, and since I have just stepped into my life coach vision and identity, this has no longer. So now he's always telling, no, she's a coach now.
mm,
So this was very interesting, and as I told you, this shift of identity, this is always required when you have a big goal, a bold goal, for example, or if you want to lose weight permanently, any lasting change that you want in your life, you have to change your identity. Changing your identity is what is really going to lead you to what you want.
To hear the rest of this episode, tune in next week here on First Paso.